Good morning, YouTube. Steve. It is a somewhat still chilly Wisconsin winter morning. It's yesterday was Valentine's Day, 28 degrees out, but there's some temperatures that are up in the 50s over the weekend. That has me in detecting fever. So today I wanted to take a moment and talk about getting permissions, where to go, how to do some research, just kind of an introduction into where do I go, A lot of people buy machines and then they immediately go to the city park, which is fine if you know the history of the park, or if you're willing to dig through a bunch of trash to find a few really good nuggets. But for the most part, I prefer to focus my attention outside of the city parks. That being said, since we've moved up here, there's one city park that is in our small town, and I hunted there maybe 3 or 4 times when we moved up in September, and I found, I don't know if that you'll be able to zoom in on that or it'll ever focus. Anyways, that's not wanting to focus. But I found two Mercs in that park in those 2 hunts. I could tell the park hadn't been hit in a while, so it's an old park that got used a lot in older times, but not so much recently. So I have that, and then I have another farm that I got permission on just from talking to people. I went in the coffee shop and said, hey, I metal detect, just came up in conversation, and somebody there has an old farmhouse that they said I could detect from the 1870s, so I'm pretty stoked about that. But I like to keep a constant flow of sites. So today I want to drive around and I'll kind of give you guys some hints as to how I'd start my research and introduce myself to people and let them know that I'm interested in metal detecting their property, because in reality that's the first step. So anyways, sit tight and we'll talk to you here in a bit. Here we are at the first site that I want to get more information on. As you can tell, it's an old farmhouse. I'm guessing it's from the 1920s or so. The yard is meticulous, but nobody lives in the home. I've never seen any vehicles anywhere around it. I did a little search on the GIS map and I learned who the owner was. I mentioned it to my neighbor, and he actually deer hunts on the property, so I'm hoping that I will be able to get permission uh, for that property. I just need to get the guy's name and phone number. Alright, guys. As you can tell, I am sitting in front of an old stone church. This particular church I've been eyeballing since we moved up here. From what I can tell, it was built around 1860, 1870. As I zoom in there, you'll be able to see right above the roof line on that flat roof, there are some curved bricks. That tells me that the church was added on. Obviously, you can see where the bricks are different on the front. For anybody that has followed my blog for any length of time, you'll know that I'm kind of obsessed with the old churches. I have had great luck at them, whether they're still standing or they've been destroyed. Just they've always seemed very productive. Uh, this was about, I don't know, 8:30 in the morning. Nobody was at the church yet. But what I did is I took one of my business cards, and I'll show you it here in a second. Um, it's just got all my information on it. It's an email address, a link to my blog, a phone number, how to get in touch with me. And then on the back side, I just wrote a little note that says, hey, I would like to metal detect your property, please contact me so we can talk about it. All right, guys, we're back on the road. This particular site, the next one that I'm going to show you, I saw a sign that said church half a mile down the road. I noticed that the whole area was very old, rural homesteads, and I said, well, I'll go check it out. Um, I was quickly taken back by the church. It's an old church that's very well taken care of. You can tell that it's been maintained, and it's probably been added on to over time as well. Once I got home, I looked it up, and I believe the church was built in 1877. You can see it there on the right, and I kind of pull over. But I noticed that there were 3 or 4 cars in the parking lot, and I said, well, I'm going to take this opportunity to go ahead and go in, introduce myself, and let them know who I am. Very important that you take steps to sell yourself, especially on it to a place like a church. If you have a business card, that is great. You have to have something that says, this is who I am, this is how you can get in touch with me. This particular instance, I went in and we talked about metal detecting procedures, when I would want to metal detect, times of the days, and pretty much I told the secretary that if there's more than one or two vehicles in the parking lot, I want it detect when there were people there. Um, you kind of have to sell yourself, really, and give yourself the biggest advantage possible when you go in to try to get permission at these places. As it stands, she had to talk to a couple other people, and then she would let me know whether I had permission or not. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you found it helpful. If you would, please like, subscribe, and share.